What urban legend needs to die? That if you swallow gum, it takes 7 years to digest. Our 7th grade English teacher, Miss Jackson, was not in Playboy in the 1980s. It does not matter that your brother's cousin's neighbor has the actual issue, and they are going to bring it into school someday. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. I am 4 eels. I am several fish and not a guy. I breathe through my gills and have 8 eyes. My supper is fashion. I am 4 wheel. Detoxing treatments. No, Sharon, harmful chemicals are not just going to ooze out of your face and feet if you use that mask. That's not how the human body works at all, damn. My favorite was some celebrity pushing alkaline water. She said my favorite way to drink it is with a drop of lemon juice. Like honey, that's an acid. You've just neutralized any alkaline in the water. 2 claps. There's a chapter about this nonsense in The Angry Chef. There's a whole quack diet movement that has adopted alkaline acar, stuff we've decided is good for you, and acid A stuff we've decided is bad for you, which has nothing to do with the food's chemical properties. They consider lemon to be one of the most alkaline foods available. Wow, just wow. I actually visualized the slow clap as soon as I read this. We have kidneys and a liver specifically for this reason. That you need to wait 24 hours to report someone as missing. You can and should report someone as missing as soon as they go missing. It could be the difference between finding someone who had a bad fall at home or getting lost in the forest and finding their body. Had a full-blown helicopter search last week at a lake near my house because a kid went missing for about 10 minutes. They found him playing at a near playground about half an hour later. But the police press guy said that the mother did the right thing, especially the kids went missing so close to a lake. We had that too. Small country town immediately. The helicopter was out. Cops from other towns and the entire town was searching. It was within 30 miles of the parents reporting him missing. Found him. He was hiding under the bed. Those small towns will pour out hundreds of people to find a missing child regardless of race, color, creed, religion, or status of the parents. It's pretty amazing, honestly. Like rednecks come out of the woods you didn't even notice were there, and they will search all night and stay sober while doing it. Probably one of the most dangerous urban myths, report someone missing as soon as you feel is necessary. You can't get starts from oral sex. One of the clinics I work at is a free sexual health clinic. Too many women are in there for mouth, throat, other digestive problems stemming from unprotected oral sex and various stuff. Steeds are wild. You can get them in your eyeballs, anywhere with a concentration of nerve endings. You can actually get herpes on your nose. That's why you snort drugs with strangers in the bathroom, using your own straw. To go with this, if you have anal and oral sex, you probably need anal and oral STI testing, not just urine testing. It's a common error. Edit. To add to this, HIV isn't generally spread through oral sex, but plenty of other things are. That you can target fat on a particular place on your body, like tummy fat. Fat doesn't know where it lives. Edit. I am, believe it or not, aware of the existence of plastic surgery. You don't need to tell me about it. Been lifting for about 10 years now. Anytime I hear someone say something about target fat loss, I just say if you could target fat loss, there'd be a lot of fat guys with 6-packs. Lol, I've never thought of that. Never seen someone with super flabby arms, a fat ass, but ripped abs. See the opposite plenty though. Surprised at the number of people doing an Ironman with a noticeable amount of belly fat. Blood is blue inside your body, red when it comes out. Nope. You don't eat spiders in your sleep. Do you fucking promise? I eat them when I'm awake. We've all been under Dracula's thrall once or twice. Spiders, George skewed the statistics. He was an outlier. Aden should not have been counted. The average person eats 7 spiders in their lifetime. Could still be true if none of us eat any spiders at all, but that guy over there eats like 30,000 of them every single day. That some guy tried to sneak acid into a festival by taping it to his body and it absorbed through his skin, and now he thinks he's a glass of orange juice or a sunflower. When I was in high school in the 80s, he ended up in the psych ward thinking he was an orange. Poor guy didn't even get a festival. That it's a felony offense to rip the tag off of your mattress. There was a major scandal in the past where a couple mattress manufacturers were recycling used mattresses, restuffing them, and subsequently reselling them. It is only illegal for stores and manufacturers to rip the tags off of new mattresses for sale. However, once you buy it and your mattress warranty expires, usually after 1 year or less, feel free to rip that annoying tag off. Back in the 80s, the tag only stated, "Do not remove this tag under penalty of law," and every single 80s kid was terrified of doing this. I think it was in the late 90s that they finally added some language that clarified that the end client could remove the tag. That touching baby birds or rabbits will cause their mothers to reject them because they smell like human. They absolutely will not. Don't go messing with babies for kicks. But if you can put a baby that you are 100% sure belongs there, back in its nest, do so. If you aren't sure, call a wildlife rehabilitator so you're not putting fledglings where they don't belong. You can move bunnies and they'll just dig a new hole somewhere else. Source: I had a big-ass dog that would constantly dig up any rabbit holes he found. I would just move the bunnies behind the fence and everything was open. That Marilyn Manson had a rib removed to suck his own member. He even said he didn't in an interview. He said, "Well, if I did, you think I'd be here right now?" I can't remember what comedian it was who said, "Ladies, if your man could suck his own dick, you'd be here alone tonight, watching an empty stage." Richard Gere and the gerbil lol. All the ones about human trafficking that create a totally fictionalized idea of what human trafficking actually looks like. If you want to see what real human trafficking is in America, do research on Asian massage parlors. I used to fly back and forth to Shanghai and was amazed how many Asian women were getting detained with multiple passports or being asked at the flight gates why they only stayed in the US for 2 days. And on that note, the idea that you have to wait 24 hours to report someone who's missing. I answer 911 calls. That myth always frustrates me. If you believe someone has gone missing or something bad has happened to them, even in the last 5 minutes, if you give me some proof of concern, we're gonna send you help right away. Yeah, but the kicker is the 50% of people reporting missing persons who have no proof of concern. I remember back as an officer having to explain to a mom, "Well, your 19-year-old son isn't missing. We know where he is. On the highway. Out of town. In his own car. After telling you he doesn't want to live there anymore." Or the lady reporting her husband missing. "He did an extra hour out at work. He pulled in the driveway as I started talking to her." I wouldn't take that as no proof of concern, per se. I'll agree 50-75%, at least, of our missing persons calls are just people gone off their intended schedule for a couple hours or having paranoid friends, family. But again, if you can justify to me why you're worried, I'll be worried with you, and we'll check it out. Erring in the side of caution is always sensible. I remember a few years back there was this scandal, where I think it was Wayfair. It probably wasn't, but just imagine a big furniture name brand selling exuberantly expensive products named like the Laura collection or the Stephen collection. I remember people were actually thinking this was real human trafficking, sponsored by Wayfair, thinking like in the drawers of this desk was a kid named Laura. If the funniest, dumbest, saddest thing I've ever heard. The idea that there are people in your neighborhood just waiting for the chance to poison your kids by giving them unwrapped Halloween candy. Or that they're giving out free drugs. Any smart drug dealer would try and get small children hooked. Little kids are notorious for having lots of disposable income. Maybe that kid with the goddamn laminated Aladdin wallet has some spare cash. Also, how would the kid even know what they are hooked on and where to get it from? The most likely outcome is the kid is like, "Mom, I really need more men." Yup. And even though they don't know what they had, they'll instantly recognize that craving they're suddenly having as something that only crack will fix. I've been waiting for free drugs for the last 35 years, and those sumbitches still haven't shown up. Anyone who thinks that people are giving out edibles to random kids on Halloween has absolutely no clue how much that stuff costs. Dare taught me that I needed to watch out for people giving away free drugs. Where the fuck are these free drugs, drug dealers? Funny story, one of my last year's trick-or-treating was 2001. Woman made homemade cookies with a sugar coating powder on them. I'm sure they were delicious, but the whole anthrax thing was going on, so I threw them away and ran away thinking this older white lady in an upper-middle-class neighborhood was a terrorist. I was in 5th grade. It just supports the stranger danger shtick, and I'll admit that is important but wouldn't have helped in the one actual time this happened, because it wasn't a random poisoning candy for kicks. It was a father who was trying to kill his child for the insurance money. The greatest danger to a child isn't strangers, it's their family and the inner circle, family, friends, etc. That daddy long legs are the most venomous spiders in the world, but their fangs just aren't big enough to spread enough venom. Edit. I'm referring to cellar spiders. Daddy long legs is a vague term that describes several types of arachnids. None of them are venomous. Wait, shit, they can bite. People giving out free drugs to kids. If someone offers you free drugs, say thank you, because drugs are expensive. That people only use 10% of your brain. That is only true for politicians. Some people say we only use 10% of our brains. I think we only use 10% of our hearts. And people chronically on Twitter. Ostriches do not bury their heads in the sand. If they are afraid of something, they will run, kick, or bite. One of my biggest animal myth pet peeves. I found out where the myth came from to make sure that the eggs are evenly heated. They occasionally stick their heads into the nest to rotate the eggs, which makes it look like they're trying to hide, hence the myth. Teps, UW, Science Focus, Comachedo, ostriches really bury their head in the sand. Allegedly. Sex does not have a lasting impact on vaginal tension. See this way too often. The truth is the vagina crushes penises and makes them smaller over time, but men can't handle this. I knew it. I've been having too much sex. That's my problem. Somehow, a vagina that's seen 100 men could propel a catamaran across the Pacific. However, a vagina that's seen one man 100 times has remained fresh out of the package. In my country, there's something called deoshi or deoshat, which mainly translates to evil eye or getting evil-eyed. It is believed that this happens when an older person admires a younger person too much. And no, not in a disturbing way. More like a grandma admiring her grandson for how handsome he is and such. The grandson starts feeling sick, fatigued, nauseous, etc. This is an actual, real phenomenon that happens because of the widespread belief in it. I've experienced it a couple of times when I was young, and I've seen many others experience it. The cure for this deoshi is most of the times a prayer or a charm that, get this, you can't be taught, you have to steal it from a gypsy. It all, of course, is fake, just superstition, the power of belief. After I figured it out and stopped believing it at 15, I've stopped experiencing it completely. The people I managed to convince that this doesn't really exist stopped experiencing it as well, confirming my theory. Just goes to show how influential believing in stupid stuff can be. Spot the Romanian loan. In my culture, you compete for the grandparents' affection, so they leave you some sweet boomer loot when they die. Phil Collins and the reason he wrote In the Air Tonight. It was about his divorce. There was an interview about it. Edit. The urban legend I heard was that a friend of Phil's drowned and a guy let him drown. Years later, the guy was at Phil's concert, so Phil put the spotlight on the guy and sang this song. That's my version of what I heard. That the McDonald's hot coffee lady had a frivolous lawsuit. The coffee was so hot, it fused parts of her genitals, and she had to have several reconstructive surgeries. That doctors will let you die if you are an organ donor to steal your organs. My stepson actually believed this and also believed that the same was true for EMS personnel that worked on ambulances. I actually got into an argument with him about it because I thought that was the stupidest thing ever, as if the medics are pulling out your wallet to check your donor status before they start administering first aid. Once I pointed that out, he started to reconsider the ridiculousness of the theory, but I'm pretty sure he still believes that it's true once you get to the hospital. The craziest thing is that it's the exact opposite. To donate organs, your body has to be in absolutely perfect health. Every possible intervention to keep your organs healthy will be made, including things that wouldn't normally be done for the average healthy person, such as micromanaging your blood. That there are hot women in my area waiting for me to chat with them. The craziest thing is that it's the exact opposite. To donate organs, your body has to be in absolutely perfect health. Every possible intervention to keep your organs healthy will be made, including things that wouldn't normally be done for the average healthy person, such as micromanaging your blood, that baby deer are abandoned, that it's super illegal to turn on your car's inside dome light while driving at night. This one should just stay Imhu if it keeps one kid from turning on lights in the car once it's worth it. You've become your father. That vaccines cause autism. This one is less myth than intentional misinformation. There was indeed a study showing this, and it was conducted by a medical doctor, but 3 important factors are always ignored. First, legitimate studies are repeatable, meaning that if another doctor does the same thing, they should get the same result. While this has been attempted, not once has anyone successfully duplicated the result. Second, a doctor involved was later found to have received a large payment from a law firm that neither he nor the firm could explain. The same law firm was at that time trying to bring a class action lawsuit against a vaccine manufacturer. Finally, the doctor was later stripped of his medical license for falsifying data. Yet people still insist his study was legitimate, and the hundreds of studies that refute his claims are part of a conspiracy. Black cats are evil. No, they're not, edit. Getting spammed with all cats are evil. Guys, I'm referring to different urban myths around the world which states that a black cat is demonic possession or just pure evil related to witch and stuff. They're kuji. They're like a little void that comes up to you and asks for pats. That vaginas get loose from having sex. There's really men out here that believe this. I love that it's implied that they're loose if they've had sex with a lot of different men. But if it's the same guy over and over, it doesn't get loose. It's like a memory foam mattress that conforms to that one penis. S had to include the S, or someone would believe me. You say S, but memory foam vagina is a thing people actually believe, and that the telltale sign of that looseness is the shape of the labia somehow. Way to let everyone know that you've never been anywhere near female genitalia. That misc is toxic. Edit. As an Aussie, it took me a minute to work out what all the replies about Machi meant, but yes, seeing the full name, I agree, Marjorie Taylor Greene is as toxic as cyanide. No urban legend there. Fucking lunatic. Especially as an Aussie. It's like what if America... People laugh and think I'm joking when I tell them the secret ingredient in my fried rice is a bunch of misguy. I'm not joking. I've been to Madison Square Garden several times. There is nothing toxic about it. That Bill Nye is either dead or got busted for some drug-related thing. I hear it every year from my students, and every year I have to tell them that no, the nerdy bow-tie scientist from the Disney Channel did not get busted trying offload 3 pounds of meth on some undercover cops. The Bermuda fucking Triangle. I live in Bermuda. The triangle is smack dab in the middle of hurricane territory, so ships and planes back in the day that didn't have weather mapping would get spanked by them frequently. It's so irritating when you're trying to introduce yourself saying, I'm from Bermuda, and the response is like the triangle on how did you survive, Edith. Bermuda also has the highest cost of living in the world. More than nice. Switzerland or Dubai, edit 2. Methane from volcanoes in the triangle is just bogus. The only volcano that's anywhere near the triangle is the dormant one that formed Bermuda. Many a hurricane passes through the triangle every single year. Go back a couple hundred years and I'm sure you'd think that traveling through there was cursed, when realistically it was just a stupid time of year to travel that way, editory. Thank you for the upvote. I just want people to see my little island Axiol are redonkulous. Fork. That's over 5% of the population, editor 4. We are now at over 10% of the population. Lord mercy, P.S. Bermuda doesn't have sharks like that. No one has ever been attacked. At most, a couple tiger sharks and nurse shakes have been seen, which is an island-wide spectacle. But they aren't on our radar like that. Same with tectonic plates. No hair near any of them. Bermuda Triangle was right there with quicksand as top 5 scariest ways to die when we were young. We can thank the never-ending story for the quicksand part. Damn it, and Princess Bride. Edit. Bermuda also has the highest cost of living in the world. More than nice. Switzerland or Dubai, Ongo. How did you survive? That sounds like exactly the kind of thing a Bermuda Triangle dweller would say to lure in more victims. Nice try, weirdo. I think that myth is dying in recent years. Or maybe I'm just older and not seeing it anymore. Maybe the rise of the internet helps. What do you think? Loch Ness Monster. It's been here since the dinosaur. It just needs 3 fiddy.